And we're a minute early according to our hour early clock. All right, let's call the city council meeting for the city of Bonney Lake. Today's date is March 22nd, 2022. And first order of business would be stand for flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Okay, Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Mayor McCullough.
I'm here.
Deputy Mayor Carter.
Here.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Fullerton.
Here.
Councilmember McClymans.
Here.
Councilmember Swatman.
Present.
And Councilmember Watson.
Here. Okay, there doesn't appear to be any modifications unless there's. All right, we do have one appointment, Madam Clerk.
This is Agenda Bill 2250. Council motion would be to ratify the mayor's appointment of Melissa Munson Merritt to the Arts Commission, position number 6, and Lise Albright to position number 11. Reappoint Lori Sell to position number 7, Caitlin Walford to position 8, Stephanie French to position 9, and Glory Campbell to position 10, all with a term ending April 6, 2025.
Do we have a motion to ratify? So moved. Second. Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Councilmember Climans, did you answer? Yes. Thumbs up. Very good. All opposed? With nobody opposed, I believe we have ratified everybody's appointment. Okay, so now we have two presentations. The first from the Arts Commission. So I'll hand the floor over to Ms. Kanker.
Hi, I'm Glory Campbell. This one here. I feel like this is on. It is on. Glory Campbell, Chair for the Arts Commission. If I get my address on here. Bonney. Good evening, Mayor McClellan. I hope I pronounced your name right, and the rest of the city council members. We have a little presentation, should take about 5 minutes. This is for both 2021 and 2022. And you're fine clicking the slide? Yep. Or you're clicking? Oh, here we go. Okay. Brief description of the Arts Commission, because I know we have new mayor and some new council members. And for the public as well. Arts Commission was established in 2014 with the help of Susie Fontaine to advise the mayor and the city council on matters of the arts and community culture of Bonney Lake, to provide community leadership and assistance in advocating for, developing, and promoting the arts in Bonney Lake, to improve the quality of life and enhance the aesthetic environment.
Only thing I go away.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Thank you. So I'd just like to start with the duck block installation project. This was started a few years ago, and you might have noticed some of the blocks that were installed along 410. In 2021, we purchased 140 more, so I can't count all those, but at the moment we have 140 more ducks that have been painted. They were painted last summer. And these were cut and designed by artist Dan Vinci. He's in Enumclaw. We'll add the budget to the end of this, but maintaining, so part of our goal as Arts Mission is to support local artists in all stages of the art. So that's the designing, the purchasing, and the installation if we can, for Arts Department helping us with installation. But it's very purposeful in where we spend our money. We're not just purchasing things off of Amazon. We're purchasing from local artists if we can. That's really important for our values. So the theme of the city where dreams can soar This really inspired the duck block installation to kind of take that theme and run with it. The duck block project was born from a desire to use the power of the arts to bring community members together, to help create ownership and a sense of belonging. The bronze statue created by Larry Anderson welcoming people into our city is an inspiration of the beauty and joy that we value in Bonney Lake. And I'm not sure if the city logo was designed after Larry's statue or if Larry's statue was designed after the city logo, but either way, that's something that we really want to continue to kind of take that theme and have that be something that people see when they drive through the city. So our vision is to see the blocks continue to be installed along the highway corridor specifically, and then in other areas like parks. But first of all, kind of through the drive-through corridor. Lots of hands-on volunteers. The Arts Commission is very, very busy, meeting outside, trying to do what we can with COVID restrictions. So 2021, we met, did lots of work parties. So that includes sanding, priming, a lot of trips to the local hardware stores, lots of hands-on work. Pictured is Commissioner Stephanie French, who really took on helping us with this project. She also helped, and we quite a few volunteers helped with the Tunes the Taps booth last summer. We used budget funds to purchase supplies and provided art kits for community members of all ages to be able to work on their painting with COVID safety measures in mind. So Stephanie designed, usually we have people come to the booth and sit at a table. She conceived the idea to create a kit that they could take back with them to their spot on the grass so that they could paint in their own socially distanced bubble. So doing what we could to create, continue what we do, but with those restrictions in mind was tricky. So all those decks were painted last summer and they're still need to be sealed. We have lots more work projects to do or parties to do to get those ready to install. And we still have to decide on locations to be installed along Highway 410. We're working with David Wells on finding locations and with Rubo of the city. So picture of some of our volunteers, myself, Caitlin Wolford, a student volunteer, Stephanie French, and Stephanie Otera. She's a citizen volunteer and she's many hours out there helping us. So, picture here is both adults and children really enjoyed this project. So Commissioner Sora Williams hand painted this Tunes the Taps banner, created a lot of empty space there for community members to get involved and paint. We also celebrated Gary Leaf's contribution to the city on his retirement. His family came, and many of old previous arts commissioners also came to celebrate. Really beautiful. Moving on to the fall, in September we had our annual garbage can painting project with Beautify Bonney Lake. Picture is Commissioner Josh Gonzalez. He was commissioned last year, or appointed last year, with his daughter in the picture there. We also had a huge team of volunteers painting garbage cans. Commissioner Portillo, Deckman, Wolford also volunteered their time to help run this project. And a huge thank you to the Parks Commission for donating the garbage cans for that as well. And Lowe's and Home Depot provided a lot of the supplies that all the supplies, I mean the paint, the paintbrushes, the rollers, the stencils, drop cloths. I mean, they were amazing. They even helped me shop for it. It was lovely. Moving on to the glass panel installation. You may have noticed this glass frame on the side of Veterans Memorial Highway. Huge thank you Councilmember Justin Evans, and former Councilmember Todd Joel, as well as the Parks Department, for helping get this project going. It's been in the works for many years. It was donated, I don't even know, at least 7 years ago. The glass panels are not pictured here, because they are still getting cut and will be installed. I talked to Todd today. It sounds like they'll be installed in the next couple of weeks. This project has faced many hurdles, including glass panels not fitting, and been a lot of hurdles getting this happening. But Arts Commission will be making a plaque to go along with it to tell the story. So each glass panel was designed by Bonney Lake High School and then etched, and then it was used in a city bus stop. I think it was this one, Park and Ride, yeah, for many years before it was donated to the city. So we're looking forward to giving it a second life as a art installation. And as you can see, we continue the theme of the duck flocks in the frame. Right, so moving on to the City Hall gallery that is upstairs in this building. I've been working to identify local and regional artists to display their 2D and 3D artwork on a quarterly basis. Goal is to provide exposure for the artists and a gallery space for the public. We're looking forward to hosting more artist receptions again in the building as restrictions allow. So this has been huge. I mean, it means so much for artists to be able to have a space to display their work, and getting the word out to the public that there's a space here. We're looking for artists. That's part of what I'm doing, as well as we're doing write-ups for them on the city blog, as well as the Lake Tahoe Living magazine, and Bonney Lake Neighbors magazine is posts a little blurb for us. So it really means a lot for artists, because honestly, I've met a lot of artists who have, they don't have places to display their artwork. This helps keep artists supported and seen. And so moving on to the vinyl wrap art project for utility boxes. So this project has also been in the works for a while, and we are really excited to see this become a reality. I'm sure you've seen these around other cities utilizing vinyl wrap to, I have it all written down. I just read it. To previously unsightly boxes, and just really another great way to support artists financially, support them with exposure, and create, like I said, a sense of community for the city. Community members really feel like they're part of something, especially if they recognize. The project lead is Josh Gonzalez on this, and we've identified a couple boxes already years ago. And now that we're moving forward with this, we're hoping to get 2 boxes done this year. So, I edited that and it didn't show up. Oops. Okay, so we welcomed Josh Gonzalez, not Gomez, to the Arts Commission last year, as well as Rodrigo Yanez, Jennifer Turner, and Caitlin Wolford as our student commissioner. And today we also welcomed Melissa Merritt and Louise Albright. A lot of new commissioners, a lot of motivated and very, very talented. A lot to offer our city. Not sure how many seats are available. Arts Commission. So, a little bit about our budget. So, you'll notice that I had a lack there with COVID, and we're not able to get a lot done. So, expenditures for 2021 were pretty low because of the delay with COVID. So, we still purchased aluminum ducks as well as art supplies for the community block project. That was about, wow, I edited this at home. It's about 2,300 to be added there. So current projects are ordering metal plaques to display with the duck flocks, because currently the flocks that you'll see don't have any plaque or sign or anything showing them that they're Arts Commission projects. So that's something that also got delayed because of COVID, and we weren't able to get those done. I'm looking forward to having that be visually small enough that it's not obnoxious, but big enough to be able to see the logos, city logos. That's a city project. We're working on that, cutting more ducks for future community projects. So each duck costs, I think, about $12 or $13. We'll see supplies might even be more expensive now, but we worked with so many different products. Stan and G worked with me and found a product that would hold up in the heat and hold up in the cold and would melt, wouldn't work. So the ducks that you can see now, those are going to last for many years. And as the paint fades, we can pull them down and repaint them, but the product itself will last. We need more art supplies for the Tunes at Taps booth. That totally depends on our project, so the cost varies on that. Also, Medal of the Arts Award production. That's an award that we hand out every year for a community member. And the community's open to vote on that. I think the application's online right now on the website. Also, so their big one is the vinyl wrap art on electrical. So this is not showing my edited version here. So this is the cost, $4,000 for 2 box. I think it's $1,200 per box at this point, and that depends on how much we pay the artist too. So it ranges between $1,200 and $2,000 per box. So, and then also printing mailers. I know the budget's set for this year. We should be able to hopefully get 2 vinyl wrap boxes done and can finish up the duck flock project. So that's the rest of the slides. Just wanted to say in conclusion that, yes, as we all know, 2020 and 2021 were difficult years for projects, but we've been busy despite not being able to meet from March 2020 to spring of 2021. We weren't able to even have virtual meetings, so that really slowed the progress of many of our projects and the welcoming of new countries. But we look forward to using the city funds to continue our valuable work. We are creative in how we find funds through donations as well as sponsors. But we are very grateful for the continued investment from the city and the vitality of our communities. Arts are a powerful tool to enliven a city, to remember its historical roots, to honor the experiences and lives of all of the members, including Indigenous peoples, Tulalip, the Duwamish, Yakama nations who originally cared for this land. From music, theater, to visual arts, our city is bursting with talent, and we strive to provide platforms for all of these stories to be told and the voices to be heard. So, got a lot of very, very talented people in the city, and we don't want them going into Tacoma and Seattle. We want them here, and we want to continue to provide space for them to thrive and supported by the community, financially by the city. So, very honored to be here tonight, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Open the floor to any questions. I do have one question, Ms. Campbell, and that had to do with the trash receptacle.
Yes.
So I was curious as to how many have been done, and I was trying to think back. I haven't seen any around the city. Have they been distributed already?
No, so usually the Parks Department, he generally doesn't swap them out until the next year. I'm not quite sure why, but that's like whatever ones he has out now. The Parks Department will usually wait until they're starting to show age, and then he'll pull those and then introduce the new ones.
And where are they normally located?
Like stored or?
No. When they're out in the city, where are they?
All over. We have them at the trailheads, all the trailheads. So Victor Falls trailhead sites, actually just at the bottom, all over the parks. I'm not sure, what do we call that? Is that Midland?
Midtown.
Midtown Forest. We've gotten there because that's definitely very needed. So all over Ellinger Park. Dana, where? He's the one to talk to about that. That was his brainchild, and we painted them, and then he's the one that distributes them.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we do have another presentation. I believe that would be from Ryan Johnstone, our Public Services Director.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you for carving out a few minutes on this agenda for myself and someone I'll introduce to you here shortly to go over EPIC. EPIC is something that the council approved for the city to join in early 2021. And we'll get into a little bit more about what EPIC is here in a moment. Sitting next to me is Kirsten Hoffman. She works for the city of Puyallup, and she is the director of their emergency management department, and also our fearless leader when it comes to emergency management. She's been absolutely fantastic, and I think that you'll be pleased at some of the items I'm presenting here this evening that we've been working on for the city. So what is EPIC? EPIC is basically a group of 7 cities, the 7 cities that are listed up there, Bonney, Lake, Buckley, that are working to prepare for emergencies. And under the leadership of the city of Puyallup, Emergency Management Department, the coalition members receive planning services as well as training to facilitate the goals. One of the things we're doing various roles in our emergency operations. Planning services, we've been working on revisions to continuity of operations plan for the agency. Called a CEMP, I believe, is out there somewhere. We've also been working on a couple items I'll show you here shortly. We've been making up a lot of ground for things that haven't been addressed in quite some time, and it's exciting to see emergency management building some momentum here at the city. Kirsten, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Sure. Thank you, Ryan. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council members. Kirsten Hoffman. And thank you for that very kind introduction. I certainly couldn't, it wouldn't be as successful as it is if it hadn't been for the great partnerships amongst all of the partners that we've been able to work with through the process. EPIC, the East Pierce Interlocal Coalition for Emergency Management, was actually named by Bonney Lake. Bonney Lake came up with that acronym, which we've become very fond of and enjoy talking about. And it's really, I think, been a testament to the ability for all of us to work together on some of the plans that we've already put together within the first year of our partnership. As Ryan mentioned, one of our initial efforts was to redo all of our continuity of operation plans. Really, as a result of COVID-19 public health response, a lot of our jurisdictions realized that we needed to revisit those plans and do some work to strengthen the ability of all of our jurisdictions to be able to provide essential services. And we are now embarking on a lot of work on Lahar evacuation planning as a region and ensuring that all of our residents understand their role, actions they're supposed to do in the event of a Lahar. So it's really been a pleasure. 7 jurisdictions is a lot. This is the biggest coalition for emergency management. And it's been a privilege to be a part of the coalition and to work with all of the jurisdictions. Puyallup resident, I spend most of my time in the east part of the county, and I'm thankful for everybody's support of our.
Thank you, Kirsten. Moving on, some of the items that we've been working on, and the ones that I want to talk about here this evening are County Lahar rapid evacuation plan and drill that's going to be upcoming. And Tom, I think you've heard some of this before, so I'm happy to reinforce this for you this evening.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. The other item here is our website, epiceoc.com, which I think when you have some time, you'll really enjoy perusing. There's a lot of good information on there for preparedness, as well as a dashboard, which I'm going to tell you about here in just a minute. And then Code Red, which is a alert and early warning system that the city is actually beginning to implement now. We'll go into that as well. So first of all, the East Pierce County LAHAR Rapid Action Plan. It's designed for first responders, and basically the intent of the whole plan is that when an emergency actually, this takes away the need to guess at what anybody needs to do. We have this plan available to us so that first responders know immediately where to go in order to begin the evacuation of the valley. It includes a critical action guide as well as rapid action procedures. And then it was developed by everybody you see in EPIC plus something. I'll go down that list. Just as an interesting side note, that picture up there is one that many of you have probably seen before, but it does document the different areas where, depending on which side of the mountain goes, we would expect to see a LAHAR flow from. And unfortunately for us, there's 3 of those that kind of contribute to flowing this way. And so it's a very real concern. It's probably, along with earthquakes, the biggest threat to our area for those that live in the valley. Again, just the plan components are the items you see listed here. I won't bother reading through all of them, but what I would like to call your attention to specifically is the LAHAR evacuation maps, and there's a sample of one of those included on the slide. This to me was really critical because what it does is it outlines the routes that we know are the priority routes that need to be taken by people evacuating from the valley. In this case, and as far as it pertains to the drill, it'll be the schools. But what we've shown on there is those critical routes, and then also areas, rally points, places where those people are directed to then receive instruction, or in some cases, reunify kids if they've been evacuated from the valley. That right there, I think, is a really neat part of the plan and something that in an instant helps give people immediate information to be able to make the plan a success and protect people. Really quick list of all the people who worked on the rapid the plan. The City of Puyallup, of course, both emergency management and the Puyallup Police Department. Harding was involved. East Pierce Fire, Central Pierce, the cities Bonney, Lake Sumner, Harding, Buckley, Wilkes, Carbonado, and Buckley Fire, and several others that I just kind of passed over there. So it's really cool that we got to put this plan together and then have it vetted through so many of our first responders and get their input. Chief was involved a lot in putting this plan together. We're really excited about it. It's a resource that we've never had before, and I think it's a huge deal. And at any time, I know I'm going kind of quickly here, but obviously you all know where I sit. I'm happy to sit down and take more time to dive into some of this at another date. So that leads us to the LAHAR evacuation drill, April 29th, 2022, big date. We're going to be doing a full-scale evacuation drill of all the schools in the valleys, and it's going to encompass the Puyallup, Sumner, Bonney Lake, Harding, White River, and Carbonado school districts. We're anticipating that we're somewhere around upwards of, if everybody were to participate, around 13,000 students that we're going to be evacuating from schools, and not necessarily bringing all the way up the hills, but to rally points in the valley. But they will have to do some walking as part of this drill. We want to make sure that it's a comprehensive exercise that gives everybody a chance to participate and get a feel for what an evacuation would look like if we have a LAHAR on its way. We will activate 3 EOCs as part of it, the City of Bonney Lakes being one of those emergency operations centers. And then the final list there is what we've identified as objectives for our EOC during this drill. These are the things that we're hoping to accomplish as a learning objective for our EOC. You can see those listed there. We're going to be exercising our radio and cell phone skills in order to talk with the schools up here on the hill. We will be doing some type of a shelter-in-place activity. They won't actually need to evacuate up here on the hill. We'll be utilizing the dashboard, which is on the EPIC EOC website. We'll talk more about that in a moment. We're going to engage our public information officer and try and put out some information via our social media, just updating the public and creating some awareness. We're going to work with our finance section to just spent some time working with the various ICS forms and coming up with some costs for the exercise, what it is, what it's costing for staff to participate, just as a way to help practice those skills. And then we'll be working with our friends at East Pierce Aries, which is our ham radio team. And they will be, as I think most of you or all of you know, we have a radio room at the Public Safety Building. Then we'll be staffing that as well as having other members at remote locations. And so we'll be practicing with the ham radios as well. So we're pretty excited about this. This is a big deal. As far as we know, I think we've taken to just calling it the largest Lahar evacuation drill ever. So it's, I don't know if we can really claim that, but it sounds good. And when you consider the number of people we're going to be working with, I think that that's probably true. We've had some national interest from news outlets across the country, and we expect that to increase. This is really unique to the United States, the threat of Lahars. And unfortunately, it's something we have to live with. And it is something that sounds very strange to a lot of the rest of our country. And so because of that, this is attracting some attention. It should be really interesting what that looks like on the day of, and then what the press is saying after that. Kind of excited about that. Just a quick slide on our emergency management portal. You can see us there at epoc.com. I encourage you to go there and look. As the summary there says, it just provides a wealth of information on regional hazards, preparedness, first responders, social media outlets, and news articles. So there's actually feeds from several of our coalitions, different first responder organizations, police departments, fire departments that have their Twitter feeds and so on there. And what we've talked about doing is adding our own on there as well. The idea being that it's a one-stop shop here. The public has one place to go to find out not only about what's going on with emergency in their own community, but also regionally as well. And that's one of the ways that we leverage the power of the coalition is that we're able to present that information and jointly communicate it to many more people than we would if we were on our own. So moving on, the dashboard is something that I've talked about a couple times here. And it is exactly what is shown in that picture there. This is a tool that we can use public up-to-date information on events as they occur. All of the members have access to be able to put information onto that dashboard. We'll be practicing with it during the drill. And it could be updated in real time. So as things change, as soon as somebody can get it on there, it can be displayed to the public and they can see what's going on. And I think of our own situation when we had the fire on the hill. But it took a while for us to kind of come around to a point where we were getting information out in a successful manner. Having something like this would have definitely been a benefit at that time, and certainly we could have leveraged to assist us in getting that out sooner. So we really want to spread the word on the website. It's a great tool not only for as you talk to people. And then finally, Code Red. This is something that Kirsten's been spending a lot of time lately working on. Code Red is an alert and early warning system. It's something that people can opt into and receive information about events that are occurring via voice, email, text. This is all GIS based, so it's geolocated and targeted. So you can that map actually up in the top left corner is kind of illustrating the point. You know, if you have an event happening where that blue thumbtack is at, you could delineate a boundary and communicate messages to the people within that boundary, or you could open it up, in this case, for the city of Bonney Lake. Our whole city limits would be an area. We could broadcast to everybody in the area. It's being implemented by all of our EPIC partners, as well as the cities of Lakewood, University, Omaha. So this is another big deal and something we're really excited about. There is, of course, as there is with many things, these for users, especially what's going on. It really gives us the flexibility to be able to get messaging out quickly to our citizens without any time wasted having to seek permissions and seek approvals to go through some of the other services that are out there. Certainly, in this case, PC Alert is a great system, and on a regional basis, I think that it works fantastic. but we really do feel like we need something here so that we can respond in a little bit quicker manner and control the content and the messaging as well. So we're really excited about this. One of the big things is that we're close. We're hoping that South Sound 911 is going to reimburse us for the complete cost of this for the next year. So that's exciting. Anything else about Code Red?
I think I would just add that because we have 11 jurisdictions that have explored this jointly, we've received a significant discount to the cost as opposed to each of our jurisdictions went directly to the provider and purchase the system individually. I think it's almost less than half of what it would have cost for each of our jurisdictions. So certainly partnering with the cities of Tacoma and the cities in the West Pierce Emergency Management Coalition that goes to University Place has been incredibly beneficial to us. One of the other great things about our regional approach, again, is we're sharing policies and procedures, messaging, training. Chief, myself, and Ryan all have access to this system. It's the same platform. We can access it on our mobile devices, on our computers. There's no delays getting messages out in emergencies. So we've really benefited from that joint work and supporting each other. I've been spending a lot of time on policies and procedures and sharing those with the coalition. So when you dig deep into this, you'll see very similar procedures across all our jurisdictions. And our hope is really that this is going to make the ability to get emergency for our residents much faster. And we can message our residents with voicemail, text, and emails. Multiple ways to reach people. And I would just add briefly that the package we purchased is unlimited use and it includes community messages. So it will be up to the city of Bonney to determine how you want to roll that out to your residents and best fit.
And just to tag on to that, just today I was working with Code Red on updating them on the languages that we would like this messaging to go out in. If somebody signs up for this, they can actually select the language that they want to, which is much more effective than having somebody who may have English as a second language. Again, valuable time to be wasted while they try and figure out what that message even says. This way we're actually able to communicate with them in a language that they know and are comfortable with. And so that kind of flexibility is really, we're excited about that. And I think that brings us to the end of the presentation. Again, please visit epiceoc.com for information. Please let me know aside from maybe some questions we have here. And if you have any additional questions or want to sit and talk a little bit longer about any of these things, please let me know. We're excited to make emergency management more of a priority. Something that I think for a long time has kind of struggled. And we'll be hearing more about it. And I'm hoping that as a team we can work together to improve the resources.
Thank you. I think you're going to regret opening yourself to the questions. I have too many to cover today.
Does council have any questions? Okay, Councilmember Fullerton.
Yeah, so very impressive. Thank you. I love the presentation. I was wondering on the website, is that how you would be able to download or access the app? Or is that something that you would go into like the Apple Store on your phone to get, I believe Code Red is the app?
Yes.
And how do you access that for people who have a cell phone or able to have it put on their phone?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things here. In order to first sign up for Code Red, we'll be pointing people to a link on our website somewhere, and we still have to set all this up, where they can initially click on that and go to sign up and opt into the service. The app itself is available either in the Google Play Store if you have an Android phone, or the App Store if you have an Apple phone, an iPhone. And I forget I think it's just listed as, it might be OnSolve Technologies. It might be listed as Code Red, but the app is available there. I can get you more info on it already. That does not surprise me in the slightest. I've already got that going. And so it is available for download there in the public.
What about like QR codes? If somebody's out and about, and you have like maybe a little to get the word out, you can put Code Red and explain what it's for, and have like a QR code so somebody can snap a picture of it, like outside of local grocery stores or something like that.
That's a fantastic idea. Not one we've talked about, but certainly we can look into that. It's going to be absolutely essential. as much as we can get the word out.
Important work. Every member. Obviously, we're in an emergency mode. We get out the word and have everybody know it.
Yeah.
So I
That's great.
appreciate that. Thank you for your time.
Councilmember Evans.
I just want to say thank you. I know Ryan knows emergency management is near and dear to my heart, and this is something we've been pushing for a long time. And then we've got a position we're interviewing for, and then the disaster supply kit. I'm on the website right now. It looks great. The fact that you guys even got down to pet supplies, that's one of my biggest things when I tell people, I've got a garage full of those and emergency management stuff. My Jeep is filled with, all sorts of climbing gear and rigging gear and all that. But no one thinks to have pet food. No one's got their medications and all that stuff. You guys have it on here the way you mentioned, just how older adults have different things that they're going to need versus younger adults. Great website. I'm super excited for this. Thanks so much for all the hard work you went and put into it. The website looks beautiful. I'm excited to see it go. My wife works for the school district, and she's excited to hear how the hard thing goes. Fortunately, she's here, but I know there's a hill in Sumner that a lot of kids are going to have to learn to hike here shortly. So, but it's can't be fair enough, and nothing ever happens. But I'd rather we do all the drills and learn everything, just give everyone the opportunity to survive the best they can with whatever may come for them. Thanks so much for this. I appreciate all that.
All right, Councilmember Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think you guys did a great job. I just agree with what Councilman Evans said. People in the city don't realize how bad that could be. And with the work here during Mount St. Helens, huge happened, a lot of tragedy with our community. Having us ready for something you and I have talked about before is essential. And when they have at least some knowledge where they can go to and what they should do. Having this website available to us, especially what we went through last time with the fire, and not getting information correct. You ask me, Tom, where's the place we should go to? Well, let's check the fire department site. That's all I have. So now we're on track, and I appreciate all of your hard work. I'm glad somebody stays involved, so thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Watson. Anybody? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Ryan and Christian, for. I'm curious, how are you working, or are you working? From what's that?
Yeah, of course I can. So we are working in close partnership with the Department of Emergency. We have regular meetings, training meetings with them. Right now, we're engaging with them to the Rising 2022 exercise this summer that's based around catastrophic earthquake on the Cascadia subduction zone. So we as a coalition will be activating a number of our emergency operations centers and exercises along with this. Working with the County Emergency Operations Center to practice what we would do in that type of a situation. We're also working with them on a number of mitigation planning efforts, and we're still working with them on the after action from a very lengthy COVID-19 public health emergency response. So they're critical partners. There's a lot of partners in unincorporated county between the jurisdictions that make up the EPIC coalition. So we're very intentional in making sure that we communicate with those resources.
Councilmember Klein, I know you're not here. Did you have any questions? Oh, very good. All right, well, thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
And seeing as there's no public hearing, we will move on to citizen comments. I need to thank all of the citizens who are here and have been waiting patiently through these presentations. Normally, our commentary starts at about 5 minutes. I've been here 45 minutes. So if anybody wishes to make a public comment, please approach the dais. You have 5 minutes. And please give your name and your address.
Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, Directors, City Clerk, Master at Arms. Greetings. I'm Dan Decker. I ask council member, City of Bonney Lake, 204 70th Street East. And our subject tonight is fluoride. Fluoride is so great that it makes us all stupid. Fluoride is a neurotoxin, the same classification as mercury, arsenic, PCBs, lead, and other such substances. How long has Bonney Lake been buying the neurotoxin fluoride, fluoridated water from the city of Tacoma? How long has Bonney Lake allowed the neurotoxin fluoride into the people's water that live in Bonney Lake? Water's coming from Tacoma water line, and I personally call it the neurotoxin cesspool water. Is what does it do? It makes us all stupid if we drink it. It's a neurotoxin. What is a neurotoxin? That's something that destroys the brain. Why has the city council allowed the killer neurotoxin fluoride to stay in the drinking water it buys from Tacoma? Some of you council members may have this neurotoxin killer at your own homes. What is fluoride? Fluoride is a developmental neurotoxin. Fluoride reduces intelligence. Fluoride impairs capacity to learn and remember. Fluoride impairs the pineal gland function. Fluoride causes Alzheimer's and dementia. Now you know where your folks are getting that Alzheimer's and dementia. It's called fluoride neurotoxin. Fluoride drinking water doubles the risk of, well, I'm not going to even say. Fluoride is a waste byproduct of aluminum, steel, cement, and the phosphate industry. It is past time to put a water purifying plant between the children and the neurotoxin killer fluoride that is being drank. I hate saying it, that you're drinking it by the Bonney Lake children. Does the council know fluoride, the neurotoxin, is poisoning our children? It's not going to kill them in the moment, but it's going to kill their brain and make them live less in time. One last thing. If you think fluoride stops tooth decay, think again. Skull and crossbones on the fluoride container means death to us, not to tooth decay. Fluoride does not do anything for tooth decay. Nothing. It doesn't stop it. All the research on it has been wrong, and it is a killer. It will kill your brain. It'll cause you to have 6 to 15 points less on IQ. And said it already, it causes you not to remember things, and it causes you not to be a fully functioning human being. Purpose is only one thing, to make us stupid. If you don't believe that, well, maybe you've had too much fluoride. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Decker. Anybody else for the good of the order? Okay. Well, I see we have no correspondence, so we'll go on to committee reports. Finance Committee, please.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Finance Committee met today at 5 o'clock. We had a personnel update. 4 awards coming up on March 31st for police officer lateral and police officer exceptional. Open until filled, we have the PC network specialist, code enforcement officer, and building inspector. Open continuous, we have public works seasonal positions, youth sport official, before and after program assistant, We have several positions that were filled or are being filled. We have emergency management coordinator, that will start April 1st. Construction inspector, April 1st. Meter reader, April 4th. And public works maintenance 3, they're currently working with. We had a resolution 3025, which is naming this official city newspaper for the next 3 years. Critter Herald is the only one. The agenda and 3, accepting a grant from the Attorney General's office in regards to a refrigeration unit for evidence. That will also be coming up on a future. We approved our minutes and we had an open discussion in regards to the senior center lunch delivery part-time drivers. What was that?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Before we move on, did I understand, you said that we do for emergency management sector hired or
That's what it looks like. April 1st is.
already need to get first?
I think I agree with we have a conditional.
Oh, yeah.
Conditional, okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
Same thing with the construction.
Not needed in a row.
Same thing with the construction inspector. All conditional. Okay.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Okay, community development.
Mayor, Community Development Committee did meet on March 5th at 5 p.m. So, items of business included the summer building inspection services interlocal agreement. We've had that one before. This is we do the same type of arrangement interlocal where we supply services. And Summer wants them, always good to have interlocal agreements up. Please move that one forward with recommendation for approval. Also, resolution 3021, which is supplemental work agreement for a comp plan update. Well, then, outsourcing support because they are very short-handed, of course, so they're hiring professionals to look at the comprehensive plan and make sure with new state regulatory requirements. Move that one forward for recommended for approval. Also, another supplemental work agreement kind of same time. But we're code development code amendments, looking to make sure the development code, building codes are all consistent with the normal regulations. They get rid of stuff that doesn't need to be in there. Move that one forward for approval. Also, a resolution for professional services agreement, which we do, of course, a lot for engineering, for preparation for bid documents, for rehabilitation of wet well. You look at that agenda bill, it is a little bit slightly confusing when it's identified as B because, all those things are connected to the comprehensive plan for the sewer plan. It's identified as project LS20, which is a series, but it's actually also B, lift station 20 there. So we're going to coat the lift station. That one's involved, of course, getting a little bit of excess gas in it because of the Creek Bridge development out there, which is another thing that we're working on solving. That's that long sewer thing that goes way over there. It needs to be redirected and up to the Easttown sewer system here. Future project, recommend that for approval. We looked at our minutes. Mr. Watson, I think 60 level notes. And also, we looked at a proposal, agencies, self-storage facilities. The committee agrees that full council look at. Those were our items of business.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Plum, and thank you, Councilmember Watson. I know you're very good at correcting. All right, Public Safety Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public Safety's next meeting will be April 12th at 3:30 p.m. on the 2nd.
All right, now we'll move to item 4, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, thank you, Councilmember Fines. All opposed? No opposition. We have adopted the consent agenda. And now we do have a Public Safety Committee issue. Item A, Madam Clerk.
This is item A, which is Agenda Bill 2252. The council motion would be to approve the closure of the Allen York Park boat launch ramp for the 2022 boating season.
So moved.
Okay, any discussion? Councilmember Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was a issue that was brought up to the Public Safety Committee. We talked about it for a couple months now, but we ultimately decided to move it forward with a unanimous consensus for review tonight. The reason that this was brought up is not necessarily to close the boat launch as much as there is no boat trailer parking available now that Allen York or Moriarty Park is under construction. That's where trailer parking has been for the last several years since we acquired that. And unfortunately, we don't have any place to park the trailers or boats other than surface streets, causing some issues along traffic within those streets. And not sure, depending on how close the driveways are, there is even enough space for a extended bed truck and trailer to park somewhere in there. There was a lengthy discussion. I mean, we debated this for probably over an hour. No one wants to close the boat launch. It was never an exciting thing to talk about or anything we were wanting to do. However, with the build out of the new park, there was supposed to be some trailer parking in there, and even if everything as planned, there would be one season where we would not be able to park trailers anywhere within that area. This just happens to be a different location than what was originally proposed. However, the facts don't change that this has to be the season where we don't have any trailer parking. The committee discussed several different options which will be coming forward in decision cards for the budget season. However, what is being presented right now is just strictly closing the boat launch for the 2022 boating season. Some of the other things that will be discussed in the future is once the new baseball field is done, that adds about 120 parking stalls, which would allow us to vacate out the 80 that are currently at ball field 4. That would open up 30 trailer and truck parking stalls there. Future discussion would be to pave over ball field 4 itself, which could generate some additional parking spaces. And then as the new Public Works Center opens, the tear down of some of the buildings there allow further parking. So 2023 would have at least 30 parking stalls available there without the displacement of the 80 cars that would be there currently. And in 2020 later, possibly 2023 or 2024, depending on if it passes through the budget, we would be able to open up all the 4 as well, and the potentially the lot over at the Public Works Center. So it wasn't without a lot of debate, a lot of heartache. No one wants to do this, but unfortunately, the long-term goal of the city does have some short-term consequences. This happens to be one of them. It wasn't anything that we. It's hard to say. There was no one wants to do this, right? So it's the consensus that it's the best bad decision that we had available to us, and we understand it's definitely going to be a disadvantage and a disappointment to a lot of our voters and our residents and the non-residents that come and vote. But it's just the unfortunate side effect of our city growing, so that we could have a nice ball field, take advantage of that grant that triggered that whole thing, and look forward to 2023 when we're back in business. How the public safety meeting left.
Okay, Councilmember Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've had a real tough time with this one, and I appreciate the staff's time on site to discuss it, options we could do. The boat launch is a part of our citizens' area for use throughout the year. The only time you can use it normally is in the summer. People out of fishermen use in the mornings, use everything out in the morning and so on. I'm real concerned about blocking out the boat launch. I think in a lot of ways it just open up just as citizens only with a permit on their vehicle, right? They buy a city permit to launch there, they're allowed to do that. We discussed also with Brian Jeter about the cost of maintaining that. It costs quite a bit of money to have extra security on it too. I'm really torn which way. It's gonna cost our city quite a bit of money to maintain it. It's also a heartache to our citizens to close it. And we do have an obligation to help with that and do some recreation facilities throughout the summer. So I haven't fully decided which way I'm gonna go on this. I see both points, and my gut tells me to leave it open for the summer.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Watson. Councilmember Evans?
So that was one of the things we did discuss. The cost is approximately about $100,000 security to be at the boat launch. And one of the discussion points we had was if we took the 80 parking stalls at Ballville 4 and turned those into trailer parkings, that would accommodate 30, but it would displace 80. Most people don't check to see if there's parking prior to launching their boat, so we'd have to have someone at the boat launch communicating with someone at a parking lot. There is availability before that person launches. If you don't do that, that person is going to go there, find that there's not a stall, park somewhere else, double park on a surface street or in someone's driveway, blocking something that's going to create more heartache for our police officers having to patrol additional areas now. And like we vetted every possible option. Having the sticker, you still have to have someone monitor that. And even if we allow people to launch with the sticker, we still would have what we would still have to discuss. We're displacing 80 families for 30 trailers, and that's just a math number I can't do, especially since there's so much more to do at the park than just the launch itself. So yeah, I mean, it was something that was a struggle. We discussed it, but ultimately, if you say, all right, you have a permit, you can launch, once you park it at your home, that's a possibility, but that's not to say that they're not going to go park on a surface street. The boaters we talked about, or the fishermen we talked about, I go take pictures of the lake at 4:30 in the morning. They're double parked in parking lot at the field, which is field at that time. However, if there is no trailer parking from 9 o'clock, if they're not out and you've got games going, and you've got a truck taking up 5 or 6 stalls or somewhere else, if security doesn't come to that lot until 9 o'clock in the morning, control it, you either have a lock on that or you have to, people are going to be parking in there, parking maybe the regular cars in there for a 8 o'clock game before security gets. We weighed every possible decision, and like I said, it was the best, worst case option that we could do. There was no way that we could discuss where it was a win-win for everyone, unfortunately, because growing pains with a city of our size and the recreation that we do and how hard we're pushing to get parks growing with what we're doing out there, it just has to be this way for this one season. Like I said, even if things were where we were doing boat parking at Moriarty with the ball field, we would still be one season without a boat launch, simply because you can't, or not a boat launch, right, boat trailer parking, simply because there just isn't anywhere to do that when construction. So that was the reluctant decision that was made by the safety committee as we moved it forward.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Evans. Do we have any further discussion, comments? Councilmember Swan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I completely agree. It's well said that I'm laying that all out. The problem I'm having with this particular issue is, as we sit here today, the boat launch is closed, right? It's like blocked off. Why are we talking about it? It's blocked. It's closed.
Boating season opens on Memorial Day weekend.
There's no reason that you can't put a boat in the lake right now.
It's what our code says. We won't do it until Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
I mean, that's a discussion for a different day. But I mean,
right, but that's an example, right? See, the crux I'm getting at is that it's a problem that we've identified in the factory, right, for a few days out of the year, maybe 20, 30, whatever it is, right? We're talking about closing the public facility for 365 days a year because there's a problem a few days out of the year, right? And then you get back to this issue where I don't understand where the legislature thinks they can tell the mayor what to do. Right? So I think the executive is full within their power to say, hey, this is not working for me. You know, I've had a lot of professional conversations with people that know, and they're going to say, yeah, this isn't going to work. I don't have a way to do this. So why is it my job to tell them, no, you can't do it, or you can do it, right? You know, as a legislative kind of body, I think that it's, you know, up to the executive to say, yeah, you know, we can't do this. It's just not working for us. And I'm right here to stand by the side of the mayor and say, that's the mayor, that's elected by the people, he made the decision, and that's his decision. And that's the way it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you.
So I think there's other ways to do it, right? Because you accurately identified a bunch of them. I'd be issuing city residents only. They'd have a placard. They'd go down there because we know there's 40 spots available. They would be handed a placard. They'd go to the parking lot. They'd be able to pick their spot. And then when they come back to pull their vote out, they could like hand the placard back and you know that there's spots available. You know, there's all kinds of ways to kind of do some stuff or most of the time.
No doubt. I mean,
But it's a pain. Allen York has always been a pain for folks. It's just that way. But my contention is, you know, I don't have a play in this personally because it's not, you know, I want the launch open. I shouldn't be voting to close it because that's a function of operations. You know, my contention is that I should literally be, you know, in a position to say, yeah, Mr. Mayor, we want it open. And then the executive gets to say, yeah, you know, public safety concerns here, we're not gonna do this right now. And I'm gonna say, okay, well, it is. I don't have a vote on a closer type of thing, right?
right.
No, that's what I'm at.
Okay, do we have any further discussion from council? Councilmember McClymonds.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to point out that the council and the city created this problem when we approved the park. And I don't really feel it's appropriate to punish our citizens as they have their first opportunity in a couple of years to enjoy the normalcy that could be summer that's right in the corner that I will guarantee you people are waiting with
I'm sorry, Councilmember McClymonds, your microphone has gone out. We cannot hear you.
I'm sorry. I would suggest that my concern is people are anticipating using the boat launch. People are coming out of the COVID lockdowns looking forward to this. The council created this problem by voting for the park, and the council should not punish the citizens since we missed doing all of our homework. I think that this is going to be a problem, and I would challenge the mayor and the council to measure the decision until the problem does occur, and then take prompt action once it's evident. Until then, I think we are anticipating how big the problem will be, and we may be underestimating the ability of our citizens to manage this situation. There will always be two or three problems.
I'm sorry, Councilmember McClymonds, you've gone out again.
I'm sorry, but we can't punish our citizens by closing it. I can't support a vote on closing it when it was my fault that I created this problem.
All right, well, thank you, Councilmember McClymonds. Before we go to vote on this, I believe Councilmember Spotman has brought up the process issue that we have with this particular issue. It has been understood and thoroughly vetted by this council. I need to thank everybody who has worked on this issue. The work and the questions that you have put in have been wonderful. I think the consideration that this council has given to the gravity of this issue has been admirable. However, there is when Councilmember Swatman did just suggest that this be an executive decision as opposed to a legislative decision, I believe it would be proper to bring a vote to our council or legislature whether we should table this vote tonight and go back to the original thing of who does exactly make this decision, or shall we go forward with the vote? Do I have a motion for that?
I need a motion to table it.
Anybody second? Okay, with a, do we have any discussion on that? Oh, Councilmember Evans.
Can we get legal to weigh in on that before we do anything?
Yes.
Yeah, in the past, we've always taken decisions that involve setting a new policy to the council for them to decide, even if they're not technically legislation like this municipal code. We still consider the city council to be the policymakers, and the administration carries out the policies. So, and sometimes that can be a little bit of a fine line. You might have a situation where maybe you need to close the vote lodge for a day or two, and we can leave that up to the mayor and the administration. But if you're talking about closing it for the entire voting season, in my opinion, that's really a council decision.
That was kind of my contention, was that, on the individual basis, that, the administration executive always needs to be able to make those. And I appreciate Kathleen's talking about the full season, because then I can't imagine why anybody thinks that, well, today is an example, right?
I have a point of order. We've actually tabled this discussion, and you said,
Oh, I'm sorry.
when we do that, we're going to discuss it.
That point well taken.
Thank you.
Was there a vote on the motion to table? I'm not sure.
No, there hasn't been yet. I was just about to call it. All right. Do we have a, we have moved and seconded, and I believe we've discussed, is this council ready to move to table this motion? I'm going to call the vote. All in favor to table this motion for today and get back to it as soon as we can? Say aye.
Aye.
And how many was that? 1, 2, 3, and Councilmember Baldwin is raising her hand, and Councilmember McCline. So we have 5 votes for tabling. All opposed?
Nay.
We have 2 votes to not table this motion. However, with a 5-2 vote, we do have a quorum, so we are tabling this motion.
One question, not
Yes.
really about, more like about procedure, but I noticed we have a lot of public here tonight. I was wondering if it's ever appropriate to ask the public that is present, because I do notice a lot of heads shaking or heads bobbing up and down. If it's ever appropriate to be able to ask for public comment on something before we vote, like
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
on the, what their thoughts are on closing the vote.
Well, as far as procedure is concerned, I believe that our code actually governs that. And our public who has been here tonight certainly did have an opportunity to voice their opinion on that. Now, as far as what you were saying about what we just voted on to table, our public has not been given an opportunity to do that. So they will have, if we approve, they will have our next council meeting to be able to comment on that. Because this is a public forum, and all of our citizens do have the right to comment.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Anything further on this particular issue? Okay, let's move on. And if I did that too fast, So now we are going to a full council issue. We're now going to adjourn our council meeting and go into a closed session for no more than 15 minutes per RCW 42.30.140 to discuss labor negotiations with no action to follow. We are now adjourned.